Ned. Well, good morning everyone and welcome back. It's actually not a bad morning, to be honest. It has been a little bit wet over the last couple of days. As you can see from behind me, the races have got a lot of water on them. But it's warm this morning, it's not raining, sun's coming up. What more could you ask for? So we're actually hit the 3-week mark of mating. Today is Wednesday. We hit that on Monday, was our 21 days. So we are 23 days in now. I'll talk a little bit about the results later on, but they weren't too bad. They were actually pretty good, and we should start to see less cows getting put up for AI every morning now. So today there was only 4. There was one in Dad's herd, he's just done it, and there's only 3 in here that I know of, or that's come up on the app so far. I find when the race is a little bit sloppy like it is, the cows are slower, they walk slower than when it's nice and firm and hard and dry. One thing we actually do need though is that sun to come out, and the 10-day weather forecast looks pretty average. It's pretty much like a chance of showers every day for the next 10 days. We need a good fine stretch again. We are into November now, so you would think that we'll get one sooner rather than later, but it doesn't look like it at the moment. Behind me in here is actually one of the paddocks I've shut up for silage. It really needs to come off, like it's getting a little bit too long now even, and we just need a good stretch of weather. But like I was saying, it just doesn't look like there's gonna be one in sort of the next week, so this stuff will get even longer. I've actually shut up quite a few paddocks. I've got one there, 1, 2, 3, maybe over at Buck. So I was having a look at that and it almost looks like it's gotten away from me a little bit. That'll be 4, and then there's 5, the big dare shed paddock over there, and then 6, which is, there's another one there too, which is pretty docky. But yeah, it's looking good though. Like, it's good to have this much feed around, and going into what they're saying is going to be a dry summer, with a bit of extra feed certainly will help. My True Test app, and it tells me that there's 4 cows on. That's 65, that's in the young herd, so we've just done her, and then there's the 331, 268 and 313. So the good thing here is that that one and that one are returned, so they've been done before, and these bottom 2 are actually new cows. They haven't been put up yet this or in the last 3 weeks, so that's good. That's what we want to see, cows like that still coming in. They usually either come in at the start or the end most of the time. I just got to remember their numbers: 313, 268 and 331. There she is, 331. That's one to do, and sometimes the others come in, or they all come in together. Might just be the one in here. 331. No, I think that's it. Have a look down this road quickly. So it's just 313 and 268. Looks like it's none of these ones either. We'll write these numbers on the whiteboard, which makes it just a little bit easier. That was no, that wasn't yesterday. That was a couple of days ago. What do we go? 268. I've got to try and remember them. 268, 3, 1, 3, and 3, 3, 1. 333, 331. Sits up there like so. 331 is first. 331 Mahu, so that's what I gave her last time. So this time I'm going to not give her any of those. She's going to get Luca. Might be a little bit hard to see on there, but you can see how it's sort of white at the moment. And it should go clear like that. So it's changed transparency now, so that's sweet, good to go. Hopefully she holds on this time. Gotta cut the end first. Dad's changed the cups. Now I'm going to put her at the front. Come on, you. Come on, you. Just like that, quick and easy. That's the front one there. Usually a telltale sign is when they are getting ridden, but I can't see any cows in the yard doing that at the moment. Oh, there she is. There's 2, 3, 6. So that's one of them. I just got to find 3, 1, 3. I think I vaguely know what she looks like. Might be a whiter cow. Oh yeah, there she is right there. So I was kind of right. She's a whiter cow. Perfect. 3, 1, 3, and Luca is the bull. Luca. Dad's about to head off, go do some other job, so he's going to do it now. But he's also going to put that cow at the front, make it easy for him. Just like so. They're all getting Luca as the bull. He's just like a good daughter-proven bull. Good milk, good udders. So the ones now that are, and that 268, so the last one to do, she won't. She'll get a beef straw. She's not a, well, she's not a good cow, but I just don't want to keep a replacement from her. Whereas this 313, so she's a 6-year-old. Her PW is higher than her BW, so that's always good for us. So she gave 2 kilos or 2 milk solids at her last milk test, which is also good. And her last mating was actually on the 6th of November 2021. So the bulls must have got her last year. She must not got put up to AI, and see how that's all blank through there. So if she had a mating this year, that would have been filled in. We can actually go to 331. So see, she's got stuff through there, so she's had a mating. It's going to be pretty interesting to see what our repro rates are like this year. In general, I think most people had a pretty good mating by the sounds of it. A lot of people are submitting good numbers. But this is going to be the first year solely relying on the data from the True Test collars. And it is pretty cool because I was saying before I didn't see any cows riding. And what I've learned over the last 3 weeks is that when I do see the cows riding, it doesn't come up on my app. It only triggers that alert sort of once they're actually stopped standing, I guess, which is quite interesting, because generally if they are getting ridden, we would put them up for service if we had tail pain or indicators on. So hopefully, or we should see an increase in hopefully conception rate this year due to the timing of it, so getting good timing with the AI. But the proof will be in the pudding at scanning, and that's not till February, might be early February. So I'm really looking forward to that. But it is good to see only a couple of returns coming through yet, and it is very early days, but 3 in 2 days, like that is good. So normally we would expect 6 out of 10 cows to hold to their AI, and that means that 4 of them are going to come back through. And it might mean that we're having a quiet start, but then we might get some days which we get a lot of, swings and roundabouts. It's a lot of swings and roundabouts when it comes to mating. Holly was driving up the road, she's off to work, kids are off to daycare. There's the last one there. So I'll just draft her into the yard, and Dad can do her when he gets back. He'll just put her up the vet race there, or not. He's just chucked it in the end. I've got a space spare, so that fills up the last row. If we look straight through there, that's one of the paddocks I've shut up. It's sort of a hilly paddock over there. That's one of the silage paddocks. You can see the maize is certainly flying along now. I have had a little bit of a bird problem with it. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll know, but I'll talk a bit more about that in the next video coming up. This was one of the paddocks from last year that I had in May, so there's new grass in there, but I've shut it up. It's not real heavy, but it sort of just got away on me. I put a fence up there. I was going to split in half the other day and give it to the cows, and I looked at it and I thought, oh no, it's a little bit heavy in places, are going to leave so much behind. So I've shut this one up, and then I had 3 paddocks along here in May, so the third one along there's also shut up. A bit easier to see from this angle, but it's right there. I was standing up the top over there before, so I've shut that one, and then the one over there, and they're pretty handy because they're so close to where we store them down here, so it's going to be a nice easy cart. We've also bought some grass off Mike the builder. He's got a couple of paddocks back at his place that he doesn't put into maize, but they've got away on him too, so we shut them up. We're going to buy them. There's probably 30 or 40 bales down there, so we'll just cart them back and put them with here. But it's certainly motoring at the moment. Like, I've put sustain on a couple of weeks ago, which will help, but it's so warm. And we just keep getting these showers. Like, grass is absolutely humming. I'm in a pretty short day round now. I think there was, how many bales were there? There's 20. So if we get, I was just trying to add up like roughly in my head, but here there's probably 3 hectares, 4.5 up the top there, there's probably 1.5 hectares of grass. Those ones over there is probably near 2 hectares. So 6, and plus the one up the top there, if I do make that one into silage, and I probably will, maybe I'll go and have a look later and see what it looks like. I don't think I'll need it for the cows, so I probably can take that one out of my rotation. But we should be hitting, if we get 100 or 120 bales off these paddocks, plus that 30 or 40 off Mike, we should be close to 200, which is, like I was saying, building our summer stocks up. Cheapest thing to do though would probably be cut it or chop it with the chopper and stack it in this pit here. And then we don't have to worry about carting so many bales around and all that plastic and whatnot. But the only problem is that if we do tend to have sort of like a wetter summer, or the drought comes a little bit later, by the time the maize comes off and I need this pit, I use this as an overflow, which I guess it's not the end of the world. Like, we could just, it's better to have too much feed anyway, so we could save it and then make another maize stack somewhere else, possibly. That's an option. The only other thing is that all these paddocks are scattered around the place, and to get trucks to, or tractors and trailers or trucks or whatever to some of them's a little bit of a mission. So that's where we find just getting the baler there a little bit easier. Tractors and trailers might not be so bad, but some of the trucks, yeah, might be a little bit tight for them. Maybe I'll think about that one. Maybe we might chop it. It'd be easier to put it in the pit, but then we've also got to stack it in the feeder wagon there, or feed out wagon, whereas the bales are easy. You can open them up, you know, the quality lasts. If you've got to keep them for 2 years, it's not so bad. So I don't know, got to think about it. There's pros and cons to each, but pit silage is definitely cheaper. I would quite like to build another bunker. I'm not sure if I'd put it in the same spot as that one, and I'd like to go a little bit bigger. Like, that one's just a little bit too small, too narrow. So what I ideally want to do is just go bigger and make the walls a bit higher. So then when we get into situations where we do have extra maize or extra silage, like at the moment, we do have the option of chopping it and putting it in there. But there's a lot of other things that we want to do as well, so I'll just put that one on the list. I've entered those matings into my book, and what I do is I just put a little R beside them so I know that they're returned. That one was actually yesterday, but I forgot to do that, so I just whacked it in there. But what I'm also doing this year as well is, I haven't done it in the past, but I just thought it'd be quite cool to keep a track of, or easy to go back and have a look, is that I'm highlighting the returns here. So if they do, just highlight them so then I can go back and see, oh, they returned. So they class a normal return for a cow, if it doesn't hold, is anywhere from 18 to 24 days. If it's under that 18, they call it short, and if it's over, it's called a long return. So ideally, they wouldn't have held on that first mating because they wouldn't have been on heat. So generally, a cycle is 21 days, but then they go either side of it as well. And that's why we're starting to see these ones now. So there's 3 out of the 12, which is 30%. And we might see a couple of others in the next couple of days as well. But they've got another 4 days for these cows to sort of come on. And if they don't, then they're probably safe that they are in calf. There's a couple from the day before. So 3 out of those ones. These were done, these black ones were actually done before the 10th. So they, in a couple of days' time, you would consider these most probably safe that they are in calf, because they've gone past that 24 days. But the 30th was the date of our last day in the 3 weeks. And I worked it out down the bottom there. We had put 273 cows up. Over 300 cows is 91%. So that's pretty good, pretty happy with that. Anywhere near 90 is generally pretty good. Like if you're high 80s, that's pretty good. And if you're over 90, I have heard of a few people this mating, like generally most people having a pretty good mating this year, and I have heard of people submitting 95%, which is pretty outstanding. And to be honest, like it is good that we've hit it, but the proof is in the pudding, and the pudding is when we scan the cows. So it is good to submit cows now, but it's all about which cows hold as well. So when we scan in February, that's going to be the real telling sign of how our mating's actually gone. It's all good to have a real good submission rate, but if those cows don't hold, then it can really affect your sort of 3 and 6 week in calf rate, and that's a real important one. This is actually really interesting though. So I've made a list over on Minder, and I've organised them by the mating dates, the date they were mated, and then over here is the heat date. So the first that was today. These are the cows that got mated today, and these are all the pre-mating heats over here, and you can see these cows, they haven't been mated in the last 3 weeks, but a lot of them have had pre-mating heats, and that's why I was kind of thinking our submission rate might have been a little bit higher. There's only 5 cows, 1, 2, 3, 4, I think there's a couple at the bottom, 5, 6 that haven't had a heat or a pre-mating heat, and the rest sort of have. There's quite a few around the 8th of October, so they should be coming on pretty soon. So they might be first timers that we'll get in the next couple of days. But there's one here, so 224. She had let me scroll across. She had a heat on the 3rd of October, so she should have come back round in that first 3 weeks. And this is what the colour data is telling me. So this green line, or this green spike of activity here, that's actually the heat intensity. So you can see it's jumped right up to the top. It's got to 100%, so you'd say that is a full-blown heat. But then she should have come back on somewhere around here, and there's just no sign of a heat whatsoever, which is pretty interesting. So there's actually quite a few cows on this list that are sort of in the same boat, and there's actually a couple in here. We'll try another one, 302, and she's in the similar boat. She's had that pre-mating heat in here, although it hasn't been as strong, but it's been up there, like it got to the high 80s. And then if we come through here, it's actually longer than 21 days though, and this is she's actually outside of the realm of a short return. She's 26 days, but you can see there's like a little spike in there. So she's had another heat, or what I would think was another heat in there, but it hasn't got to the 40% threshold up here of when I get notified. And obviously, like, her behaviour hasn't changed to or as much to get that spike. I was actually speaking to Blake about it yesterday, and he was saying, like, whether True Test make something where we can see the cows that get over like 20%, and then you can see all the cows that get over 20%, so then you can sort of pick these ones up. But there's got to be a cutoff somewhere as well. So I don't know whether like a cow like that would have held on a heat, whether if the bulls were out, they would have got it. I'm not sure, but it is pretty interesting. Let's just hope her next heat's strong enough, although the bulls might be out by then, so yeah, I don't know. But it is interesting, and if they've had a pre-mating heat, there is a good chance that they will get in calf over the next, what have we got now, another 6 weeks. So, well, hopefully they do anyway. I'll just show you one more, because I found this one quite interesting. So she's had a heat in here, which is real strong, pre-mating, and then she's had also another heat in here, pre-mating, and then the next one, which is here, and these are all good heats, like they're all 21 days apart. She has had one that, well, I think that was like the first time she came on, sort of like back in August, but so that one was nice and strong, then that one made the threshold, and then her last one, it only got up to sort of like 15%, so interesting seeing all this information though. Since we have submitted quite a few cows and mating has gone pretty well, hasn't it?
Yep, I think so. Well, you need to compare it to last year's numbers or the year before.
Yeah, well, I was just saying before that the proof in the pudding is really when it comes scanning time, but because we have submitted so many cows in the last 3 weeks, we're sort of wondering, and because we're only getting a couple of returns a day, whether we just go and put the bulls out.
Yep. Yeah, I reckon it's a good idea, because we've got such a good technician. I think that's an excellent idea.
But I'm just a little bit worried, or not worried, but it's just some of these cows that will return over the next sort of 5 days, and they're good cows, and we can get a chance of getting like a replacement from them. I'd rather keep a replacement from a good cow rather than like an average cow, so that's why.
Yep, that's a good idea. So look, maybe we shouldn't put the bulls out for 4 or 5 days then.
Yeah, so maybe we should just go the whole 4 weeks.
Yep.
But then I said to Dad, well, because most of the cows have had a heat or have been submitted, maybe we should also pull our mating back a little bit. Usually we mate for, I think you used to do like 11 or 12 weeks.
Yeah, I'd go from the 10th to the 10th of December, or 20th of December. I'd take the bulls out.
So that'd be just over 11 weeks. And what I'm thinking is, because everything's pretty much cycled, we should go 9 weeks. We'll do AI for either, well, we've done it for over 3 now, so maybe 4 weeks. Put the bulls out for 4 weeks, and then just tail off in that last week with short gestation, which we have in the bank. So then it pulls that last week forward, gives those cows a chance to get in calf again next year, but then also condenses, well, not condenses our calving, but our calving period's shortened to sort of that 8 to 9 weeks, which the whole point of that is just getting cows in calf the next season.
Yep.
What do you think?
Yep, good idea.
And it also, like, pretty much all the cows would have had 3 chances to get in calf. So I don't know. And if they don't, maybe they should go. If they're empty by the end of that, maybe they should go.
Exactly.
Yeah. But that's what we're thinking at the moment. Hello, girls. They're actually quite quiet. And I say that because I'm weaning them today. I haven't fed them any milk. I've sort of been cutting them back, like they only got a litre yesterday. And they seem happy enough. Probably only keep them for another month, or maybe another 5 weeks, and then send them down to Merv's. I need to top up their hay too. They go through quite a bit of that. Almost a bale a day. They actually seem happy, as I thought they'd sort of be pestering me to bring them some milk, but it's a good sign. It's not that I'm sort of overfeeding them. I am a little bit, but yeah, I just think they're ready. Both the herds today, there's actually the other herds just up the top there, they were out of range, so nothing was coming through, and it's always a little bit daunting when they come to the feed pad or the other ones get shifted closer to the shed, because I know there's always going to be a notification come through saying there's something on heat, and there is. And I've had 2 come through, so I've had 107, she's a return, so we'll be able to get her again. She will have a replacement, and then there's this 288, probably put a beef into her, and that is actually a new one. She hasn't been mated yet. That's exactly what I want to see. These new cows keep coming on. Our goal is to get as many cows, or as many of these cows in calf as possible. And we're always going to have a few empties, but just cows and calf give us options. So a cow that has got a calf, we can always sell for more than we can send it to the works as being empty. But around the bulls, I think, I don't know, we can sort of play it on day by day, but I think the best thing, so we'll just mate for the next 3 to 4 days, see how many returns we're getting, and then we can decide if we want to do a couple more or just stick the bulls out. But yeah, we're sitting in a pretty good position, I think. But that pretty much will wrap it up for this video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Give it a thumbs up, that'd be awesome, and see you next time.